Looter shooters are a rare breed and a risky one. We've seen a lot come and go. Borderlands defined it. Destiny perfected it in some ways. And games like Anthem, well, they showed us just how fast it can fall apart and a developer can stop being trusted when it comes to this genre. In 2021, Outriders entered the scene. Brutal powers, flashy gunplay, and the promise of no microtransactions at the time. On paper, it had everything: 4 unique classes, deep builds, and a story-driven campaign. It also had a decent roadmap with plenty of endgame DLC coming in the near future. So why did it crash so hard? Why did a game that peaked at over 125,000 concurrent players end up with barely a few hundred online? Let's find out why Outriders, the looter shooter that could have been great, lost almost everything. When Outriders first came out, players and reviewers consistently praised the title for its combat, gunplay, and powers. Many reviewers and players love the aggressive, violent combat and the way class abilities interact with shooting. It frequently cited as the game's core strength. The visuals and atmosphere, the world design, effects, and gore got repeated praise. People said the game looks and feels satisfying to play, and in my opinion, it is. There was promising design under the surface. The systems could be fixed or improved, loot tuning, endgame rework, and when it first launched, there was plenty of technical errors. Now, as you guys know, with many games, this is what is pretty much what is to be expected on a game's launch. But these errors were game-breaking and they never got fixed. Even when the development team did promise things like adjustable loot tuning, adjustable endgame content, as well as the ability to receive your inventory back when many of the player base kept losing their entire inventory or their stash. On top of that, there was plenty of stability issues, and this is one of the biggest reasons why Outriders ultimately failed, is the fact that it was persistently online at all times. Even if you had your game open and you had your privacy set to closed, there was no way to actually pause the game, there was no way to actually play offline, and for a lot of players, this did not work out. If you're in the middle of a fight and you want to get up and go to the bathroom or do something like that, ultimately you couldn't, even if you were playing completely solo. Now with the servers and bugs on top of this, it made playing the game even as a single player and a solo player difficult, with many disconnections, not having the ability to even load into the game or join matches overall. And when you did want to play with your friends or matchmaking in co-op, the matchmaking system was broken completely, with you getting paired up with the wrong people, lobbies not even working, or when you're in the middle of some endgame raid, the lobby completely shutting down due to server issues. At this point, a lot of the player base started to have their gripes, and the development team did make plenty of promises to fix all these things, as well as bring some compensation to the players. Now, the players necessarily didn't want compensation at the time. They just wanted the game to work. They wanted to play the game because it was fun and it was a new looter shooter on the scene. But none of these promises actually came to be. Sure, there was UI fixes, bug fixes, and tuning, and there was some stash recovery. But overall, plenty of the player base still to this day get littered with all of these problems, and they ultimately did not get fixed. Now, looter shooters live or die by the trust that the community has with their developers. And Outriders lost a lot of that trust starting from day one. As we know, with it being technically a live service title and looter shooters, all about the end game, all about what is going to come next after you've done all those grinding and you've done the new DLCs, you've done all the bosses, you've completed the main story, what is going to come next for the end game. Well, shortly after its launch, with all of its technical issues and many different problems, the development team started to shy away, and there were signals that they were going to abandon the project very early on. And that is exactly what they did after they eventually released the main DLC, which is World Eater. Now, World Eater was pretty good. It still was littered with all these bugs that I talked about previously: server issues, loot drops, endgame content being buggy, matchmaking having a problem, playing solo, server imbalancing, not even be able to queue into the game. But overall, it was new content for the player base to play, and it was fun. And they had some good dungeons, they had some good systems, but overall, nothing did get fixed the way the game should have ran. And at this point, the development team were kind of chasing their own tail, and eventually decided to completely abandon the project. Now, in my opinion, Outriders is one of the top looter shooters that have made it out on the market in terms of gameplay, gunplay, looting, and the way the systems work in the title. But if it was fleshed out in a very specific way and it had its adjustments that were promised, I do think it would have succeeded, and there potentially would have been an Outriders 2. I do like the mechanics of the game. I do like all the skill sets, the build diversity, as well as the classes and the synergies that work with it, as well as just the atmosphere and the story story of the title. Now, the story overall was completely bland. The scripts and the voice acting was not all that good. The visuals were decent, but it was pretty good for its time. But this world of Outriders could have been expanded on greatly, and it just got left in the dust. Now, overall, like I said at the beginning of the video, the bigger titles that have defined the genre are obviously Borderlands. That is the main bread and butter of a looter shooter. They hold the crown, and they probably forever will hold the crown. Honestly, I don't want them to hold the crown because I want more companies to come into the genre, because there's not that many games in this genre. But Borderlands, we all love it. That's my favorite looter shooter. And then we have Destiny 2 being a great live service version of this. They did fall off after they switched over to sunsetting. I don't know how it is much nowadays. I don't really play it, but that overall was a great game. The Division 2 is still going strong. It's got a really good community. That title is very fun as well. We also have one of the newer ones who came out, Remnant, as well as Remnant 2. And those did really well, and they still do very well as a looter shooter. But I do think Outriders did not get the praise it could have gotten initially on its launch, just due to the fact that it had so many problems that a lot of people didn't even touch the game due to what player base was saying. If you played Outriders, tell me, was it the bugs or the grind that made you quit? Was it the development team completely abandoning the project? Was it the game overall? Was it not the looter shooter you thought it was to be? Let me know down in the comments below. Did you play Outriders? What did you think of it? What do you think of it to this day? I actually recently went back to it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I can see that the burnout is already happening just due to all these bugs and all these problems that still consist in the title to this day. And overall, it is not one of the best looter shooters, but it was one of the better ones to reach the market if it did its thing right. Let me know down in the comments, did you play it? What do you think of it? Would you have liked it to do well and have an Outriders 2? What is another looter shooter in the genre that you think does not get enough praise and you would like to see do better? If you enjoyed this video, if it was at all insightful, drop a like on it and subscribe for all things Borderlands, all things looter shooter. And as always, guys, stay happy, stay hyped, and good luck looting.